Greetings all, and welcome to Daily Pali Reading. Today, we are going to look at this fascinating sutta, although aren't all the suttas fascinating. This fascinating sutta, the Pupphasuttaṃ, the flower sutta, found in the Saṃyuttanikāyo in this large division on the khandhas, the aggregates, the 5 aggregates that make up a living being, or the human being. Let's just get right into it here. Sāvatthinidānaṃ, originating in Savatthi, or happening in Savatthi, or it happened in Savatthi. Nāhaṃ bhikkhave lokena vivadāmi, lokova mayā vivadati. This Nāhaṃ is actually is Nāhaṃ, and let's get some Pali enabled down here. That's what's going on here. These two short us come together and they form this ah. And ahaṃ is I. Na is going with the verb. It negates verbs, and our verb is here, vivadāmi. This is our first person singular, what we would expect. I do not quarrel, dispute. We'll talk about this word a little bit later. I do not dispute lokena, with the world. Only, now this va is a shortened form of eva, only loko, the world, mayā vivadati, quarrels with me. Now this is very fascinating. There's a lot of things going on here. Loka, of course, I think usually when we think about loka, we're thinking about like the physical world. And in Pali and Sanskrit, this lok is related to, say, the word for light, aloka or aloko. And I think that has to do with the fact that the world is something that's visible, it's manifest. But here, clearly we're not to understand it this way, and I don't think anyone would, but just to point out how the Buddha is not saying that he's either quarreling or not quarreling, in this case, not quarreling or disputing with like the physical world. This has to be the people in the world. And this sort of idea comes up in the Gospel of John when Jesus talks about being hated by the world. Again, he doesn't mean the physical world. He means, almost like society or worldly beings maybe attached to the world. And again, going on, it's only the world. It's like, look, it's only the world that disputes with me, that quarrels with me, that disputes me. And now we'll talk about this word a little bit. It comes up here, vadāti, or in this case, vadāmi, means to say. Vivadati or vivadāmi, with this prefix, like in the word dispute, has V here, has the idea of maybe separating. So I say separately. And I'm just saying it this way so maybe we get a little foothold on how this V transforms vadāmi transforms it from meaning simply to say, to dispute, to quarrel with. Na bhikkhave dhammavādī, kenaci, lokasmiṃ vivadati. Monks, this is I should have said it here too, comes up quite a bit, our vocative plural, monks. Dhammavādī, a speaker, kind of related to vadāti, right? Vādi, a speaker or one who speaks dharma, one who speaks the truth, or one who speaks, preaches the teaching, the true teaching. And again, we get a na vivadati, does not quarrel, kenaci, with anyone. This is made indefinite here from the interrogative. Not with whom, but with anyone, lokasmiṃ, in the world. This, just to point out, I think we're going to get it later here. This is one of the forms of the singular locative. We're going to get another one here. I don't know if this one is more, more popular. Which one is used more? It seems like you see this ending quite a bit. But same meaning. A speaker of the truth does not quarrel with anyone in the world, does not dispute with anyone in the world. Now, this is sort of an interesting statement, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But I just want to plant the seed that how could this be the case? And that may just be left as an open question, dear listener. Yang bhikkhave natthisammataṃ loke paṇḍitānaṃ ahampi natthī'ti vadāmi. And actually, we'll finish this too. Yang bhikkhave atthīsammataṃ loke paṇḍitānaṃ ahampi atthī'ti vadāmi. That which, monks, is agreed upon as not existing, or is agreed upon to not exist. So this is an interesting compound. Saṃyuttaṃ means agreed upon. Natthi just by itself means is not. It's an actual verb. Again, the compound, we have to take it as just the negative state of existence. So that which is agreed upon as not existing, paṇḍitānaṃ. Now, of course, we probably are familiar with the word pundit in English, which comes from, I don't know if it comes straight from Sanskrit or maybe from Hindi, but the wise, here it's our, this is our genitive plural, masculine genitive plural, of the wise in the world. Now, that's how it's used here. Genitives have a pretty loose relationship to other words in the sentence, or you just grammatically. Probably in English, we would say agreed upon as not existing by the wise in the world. But that's just how genitives get used. It's loose. Ahampi. So here, I also say, I also declare, tongue, that natthi, it does not exist. This T is marking off a direct quote. I also say, natthi, I also say, it does not exist. Natthi. Young, and this is the opposite, this last statement here. Young bhikkhave atthīsammataṃ loke paṇḍitānaṃ ahampi atthī'ti vadāmi. Just replacing natthi with atthi, with to exist. This by itself means it's a third person singular present active verb. Atthi. It is. It exists. Agreed upon. That which, monks, is agreed upon as existing by the wise people of the world, I also proclaim. I also say that thing exists. It exists. Now, before we come back even to the open question, I want to talk about paṇḍitānaṃ, the paṇḍita. Who are these paṇḍita? And I think it's really interesting. Now, I think the paṇḍita are the wise. It's just simply the Buddha recognizes that there are wise people in the world, and he is not disputing with the insights that they've come up with, because strictly speaking, and not just strictly speaking, something that the Buddha talks about is that the Dharma is there. The true understanding of how things are is there for all of us. It is not something that has to be revealed by a divine being to us. It is simply there for us to notice. It takes effort, but it's there. So the Buddha recognizes that other people have seen this. Now, I should say, going beyond simply the wise people of the world, another way to understand paṇḍitānaṃ would be isayo, the singular of which would be isi, which in Sanskrit is rishi, or the rishis, the ancient sages. I will put here on, I'll try to copy or screenshot this from the Pali Text Society's Pali English Dictionary. They mention something interesting about the isayo, that in Brahmanic tradition, the 10 divinely inspired singers or composers of the Vedic hymns, and here's what they say: Brahmanānaṃ pubbhaka isayo mantānaṃ kataro pavataro. And I just thought that this is a really interesting Pali, just a little interesting Pali to go through. And it also comes up, I believe, in De Silva's Pali Primer, and I'll try to find that too. So pubbhaka isayo, the ancient rishis, or the ancient sages of the Brahmins, the Brahmic ancient sages, were, I guess we can put that in kataro. Now this is related to karoti. They were makers of mantānaṃ, of the mantras. And pavataro, they were like, they handed that over. You know, they maybe either explained it, or probably both, explained it and handed it on in a tradition. And I just like this idea of the mantānaṃ, of the mantras. Again, in Sanskrit, we're probably more familiar with the Sanskrit mantra. And a mantra is not simply like some syllable that has no meaning. The mantras, or the manta, a mantra is a verse in the Vedas, from the Vedas. So we'll kind of leave it there. I do want to ask this question. How is it possible that a speaker of the truth does not quarrel with anyone in the world? I think that that's an interesting question, and we're going to come back to that. You know, I left space here to translate, write out a translation. I'm not going to do that right now, dear listener. My apologies. Maybe we'll do it. It kind of takes up a lot of room, and if this is not clear, please let me know in the comments, and we will go from there.